Hello everybody, welcome in this new video from AB Travel Joy Technology. My name is Baltus, I'm a school teacher automotive technology here in Holland, and together with my wife Anita we travel a lot around the world, mostly in our van, so the van life thing is something that I like. I hope to learn something about technology, automotive technology, through this YouTube channel. And today's video is all about brake pads. How you can check your own brake pads. It's not always possible, but I try to learn you how to check it. What is a brake pad and how to use your brake pads on a proper way. That's also good to know. So this video all about brake pads. And let's get started immediately. What you can see here in my hands, this is a brake pad. This brake pad has a sensor, and when the brake pad is worn out, the sensor will tell your display inside of your van when the brake pads are worn out and you have to renew them. But not every camper or van has this sensor. This is a brake pad without. Okay, so how to check your brake pads? First of all, the brake pads you can see here, this is a new one. You can see this space here, and on a new brake pad, this is like 8 till 10 millimeters. This is a steel plate, and the friction material is glued on this steel plate. And the thickness of the friction material is like 8 to 10 millimeters. So this is a new one. When is your brake pad worn out? That's not easy to say because it is depends on how you use them. But normally we say like 2 millimeters and then change them. So later in this video I will show you how you can check your brake pads on your van. It's not possible at every van. Sometimes you have to remove the rim or the wheel to check this out, but in this video I'm gonna show you how you can check it on a Peugeot Boxer or Fiat Ducato with aluminum wheels, so there is space enough to check your brake pads. Okay, first of all, this is a brake pad. What you can see here, this is what we call a brake disc. Your wheel is mounted on the brake disc with bolts or nuts. So when your wheel is rotating, then your brake disc is rotating. If you push your brakes, then you push your brake pads onto the disc like this. So here you can see the brake pads on the disc, and when you are braking with your foot on the pedal, you push the brake pads to the brake disc, and there will be friction between your brake disc and your brake pad. This friction causes slowdown, but also heat, a lot of heat. So that's the other thing what we're gonna discuss about. So the friction material on your brake pads is new 8 to 10 millimeters. You have to change them when they're like 2 millimeters, something about. And not to forget is that when you brake, you push your brake pads to the brake disc. This causes friction and you can slow down. Okay. Again, it's good to know that this friction will cause a lot of heat in your brake disc. So that's the reason why you can see these ventilation holes. Air can flow between both sides, inside actually, and takes away the heat generated by braking, generated by friction of the brake pads to your brake disc. Okay, okie dokie. So you now learned what a brake disc is and what a brake pad is, and you know that when you are braking, that causes a lot of heat inside of your brake system. In an earlier video, I tried to learn you something about refreshing your brake fluid, That's an important thing, so I'm not gonna tell you anything about the brake fluid. You can watch that back in one of the previous videos. I'm gonna tell you now how you can brake with your van while driving in the mountains. Some people are going downhill and they keep their foot on the brake pedal. And that's not okay. The first thing what you have to try is to go back in gear. So when you're like 80 kilometers an hour going down on a mountain in the fifth gear, that's not very smart. You have to brake on your engine. So take down your speed, like from 80 to 40 kilometers an hour, and go back to the third or maybe the second gear. And then your RPM gets like 3000 or maybe 4000 RPM. It's not a problem. You brake on your engine. Every time you brake on your engine, you don't have to use your foot brake. And when it's going really downhill and you need to use your foot brake, it's not a problem. But try not to brake all the time. Every time you push your foot on the brake, your brake pads are hitting your brake disc. It causes a lot of heat, and it's going on, it's going on, it's going on. It's getting hotter and hotter and more hot, and that's really a big problem. So try to brake hard and short. Then your foot off the brake, so the system can cool down. Use your engine brake, and when it's necessary, you push a little bit again to your brake pedal. Yeah, brake hard, going slow down, getting off your foot off the pedal, so there is not a lot of heat inside the system. When you keep on pushing your brake pedal all the time, it causes a lot of more heat than when you push your brake a short time hard, then all the time not so hard. So that's good to know. And I almost forget to telling you how to brake on your engine when you have an automatic gearbox. Put your automatic gearbox in manual. Most of the gearbox have the possibility to put it in manual. So put it in manual and take down your gears like to the fourth or the third or the second to brake on your engine. The older automatic gearboxes, they have this L, it means low speed, and so you can brake on your engine. So it is also possible with an automatic gearbox to brake on your engine. So when you're going down a hill, first of all, use your engine brake, and then when your engine brake isn't enough, then use your foot brake. Short and heavy, then a while not braking, and then again short and heavy, but not braking all the time, because when you're braking all the time, it causes a lot of more heat into your system. So that's really important to know. How long can you do with your brake pads? It's a common question, and it's hard to say. Actually, it depends on how you use your brakes. First of all, if you have an automatic gearbox or a hand gearbox, it's a difference. Normally you use your brakes more with an automatic gearbox than with a regular gearbox. So that's also one. But if I compare it to myself, I think I'm a slowly driver and I know how to drive and I know how to use my brakes. My Peugeot Boxer, I already drove like 57,000 kilometers and there's still like 5 millimeters on my brake pads. So if I'm calculating, it's like 70 or 80,000 kilometers I can do with my brake pads. But if you more fast driver or hard driver, then the period of changing your brake pads is of course shorter. And you don't drive that much kilometers, then it's important, like every 3 years, take out of your brake pads, clean all the surfaces, put a little bit of copper grease on it or something else, but make sure they can move freely in the calipers. That's very important because meanwhile they can get stuck on everything and then you will see that one brake pad is worn out more than the other one. So that's important to clean them once every 3 or 4 years if you don't drive that much kilometers. So that's important. I already talked about the brake fluid. In one of the previous videos you can learn about brake fluid, and that's important to change your brake fluid every 2 or 3 years. That's really important. So now we're going to check the thickness of the brake pads on my own van. At this moment it's winter time in Holland and my van is already, I think, standing for 3 months on the same spot outside. I'm not very happy with that, but there are no other possibilities. So you will see a little bit of rust on the brake disc. That's not a problem, but then you will see this rust, and I hopefully can show you how much millimeters there is on the brake pads. So let's check this out.
Okie dokie. Here you can see the brake pad. This is my brake disc. It's quite rusty because it's already 3 months on the same spot. But here you can see my brake caliper. This space here is the steel plate. This space here is the friction material, and the friction material is like maybe 5 millimeters or something. So that's enough, and I already drove 75,000 kilometers with my van. So here you can check out your brake pads through your wheel. How did I do this? Like this. This is my wheel or rim, and the holes are big enough to check them. But if I compare it with my car, like the Ford, then these holes aren't that big. Sometimes you are lucky you can see through. Sometimes you have to take off the wheel cover, and in the worst times you have to take off your rim so you can see your brake pads. So it's not always easy, but now you know how you can check it.
Okie dokie. This was the movie about brake pads. All basic principles, of course. Remember that change your brake fluid every 2 or 3 years. That's a previous video from AB Travel Joy Technology. Now you know what a brake pad is. You know how you can check your brake pads. And you know when you have to change your brake pad. It's like when there's 2 or 3 millimeters of the friction material left. Then you have to change them, clean them every 3-4 years when you're not using your van like that much. You also learned in this video how to use your brakes when you're driving through the mountains. Try to use your engine brake, not too much your foot brake, only when it's necessary and not all the time. It's better to brake hard and short than for a long time light. So I hope you learned something in this video from AB Travel Joy Technology. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up when you liked it. Follow our YouTube channel, of course. Subscribe on it, and see you later. Thank you.